Good morning. My name is Judy LaSala. I will be showing you my statistics analyst project. It's on chemotherapy-induced nausea and vomiting. I'm going to start with my layout of my project. Patients with chemotherapy-induced nausea and vomiting. And the reason I'm going to show you is the importance of the study, along with the population I have chosen for this study, the method of study with regards to the participants, the materials, and the procedure. I'm also going to show you the results or graphics with StatCrunch, and then I will go with my conclusion of this study. First of all, the importance of this study is because to evaluate patients who receive chemotherapy and nausea and vomiting, to see if women report nausea and vomiting more than men. The study will also be used to show that ineffective treatment of these side effects can lead to alter in patients' life and activities. It can cause debilitating physical consequences and interfere with their ability and willingness to undergo chemotherapy. Inadequate treatment of chemotherapy-induced nausea and vomiting can also lead to increased resource costs in their medical plans, as well as patient suffering. The population study. My population study was patients who receive outpatient chemotherapy treatment. It's categorized between female versus male, using both genders in the study. I did a rambling sampling using the draw from a hat. There was 30 females and 30 males. The method of my study was I surveyed patients who received chemotherapy in our outpatient facility. It was an observation studies. Patients were asked by their nurses, do you experience nausea or vomiting during your chemotherapy treatment? The nurses had a survey sheet for each patient, and they would mark their gender along with their answer yes or no. The patients did not know we were taking a survey because the questions are always asked on a regular basis during their treatment. The questionnaire was completed over 1 week. Then I divided the sheets into 2 categories, men versus women. The surveys were randomly drawn, and for each group, I drew 30 women and 30 men. Below, you will see the results of my answers of yes and no. Out of 30 women, 14 said yes, 16 said no. Out of 30 men, 9 said yes, and 21 said no. In my frequency report as follows with StatCrunch. Women said yes. They had a 0.4666 result, which is approximately 47%. Out of 1,000 would report yes that they have nausea and vomiting. You can see my percentage in the pie chart. And then this is the men, which the relative frequency was 0.30, which means 30% of men would probably report nausea and vomiting out of 1,000. And again, you can see that in my pie chart below. The next step is a graph I will show you where women, you can see in the graph, report more vomiting than men in the samples that I had taken. It's a bar graph. I did a confidence intervals with StatCrunch, and I used the 95% confidence interval. You can see the proportions with the female, the lower and upper limits. The lower limit was 0.28 or 0.29. The upper limit was 0.64. And with the men, the lower was 0.13 and the upper was 0.46 or 0.14 if you round it off for the lower. And then I applied the hypothesis on this where the women were P1 and the men were P2. I was trying to prove that the P1 was a greater reporter than the P2 for their nausea. And when I did do my StatCrunch, my p-value ended up to be 0.1764. So according to my results, my p-value is greater than the alpha, which I had chosen was 0.05. Because of this, my null hypothesis would not be rejected. There's not sufficient evidence to prove that women experience more nausea than men. So, in conclusion to my report, the theory that I had was not proven. And possibly if I would have got a larger sample, I would have been able to maybe proved this. So unfortunately, I was not able to prove my hypothesis. So thanks for viewing my PowerPoint and have a wonderful day.